if I wanted to do the. Okay. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get the little time thing going. And I don't know. But tonight we're going to have Kelly Carden on, and he's running for supervisor. And I do not know the county, but I'm going to ask him. And today we're going to do something a little bit different, and probably the rest of from now on. And that's, we're going to kind of talk about problems that people face when dealing with the city or different governments, and kind of how to deal with that. Oh, Kern County. So he's running supervisor for Kern County. And one of the things that a good example is pet caps. Obviously not, the city doesn't require that you get hats for your dogs or cats yet. They could. They do come up with some strange decisions, as you will see tonight, hopefully. But yeah, there are some definite odd things. One of these things is that the city tells you exactly how many pets you can have in your home. And the law, according to Los Angeles County, Section 10, through a lot of paper, or through a lot of verbiage, you can have 3 dogs and 3 cats, except for in the unincorporated area of Los Angeles, which is kind of a little bit different. It's an area I looked up that's about, that makes up a huge percentage of Los Angeles, and I'm not 100% sure. I was trying to look at the map and see kind of where it was, but if not, then you have to have 3 dogs and 3 cats. And I was kind of looking into that, trying to figure out why that is. Who determined that that was the number? And I'm willing to bet that it was basically just, by vote, by council. It was determined for whatever reason that, having more than 3 dogs and 3 cats was not acceptable. Based off of, individuals that were part of the city council, they made that decision. But what if you what if you want to take care of cats or dogs? And here's Kelly, and we're gonna get into this here. And
hello.
Hey, Kelly, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? That was weird. I had some audio issues. Couldn't get in.
I understand. So basically what I'm talking about tonight, well, first I'll introduce you. This is Kelly Carden, and you're running for supervisor of Kern County, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what district would that be, or what area, I guess, if we have any Kern County listeners?
Yeah, so Kern County is made most famous because Kevin McCarthy is actually our congressional representative. Our congressional representation. He's the minority leader of the House. So we are the county that's just north of Los Angeles. I actually live 3.7 miles away from the Los Angeles County line. And then in Kern County, I'm actually District 2, which is the desert county, the desert portion of the county.
Okay.
Yeah. So Edwards Air Force Base is in that. So a lot of people know that. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so District 2, and we're a region that is all desert for the most part. We are very oil rich, solar rich, a lot of wind power. In my district, we actually have, like I said, an Air Force base, and then SpaceX is located in my district as well. In Mojave, we have a spaceport here. It's really weird how I live in a county that is so I mean, poor when really, like, resource wise, we're like the richest county in the state. It doesn't really make any sense, and I think it really points just to a lack of management and funds and creativity because we're not very creative with fixing issues.
Right, and that's one of the things that I'm looking at tonight, or that we look at, well, that we're going to be looking at in the future, which is basically how cities, counties, governments make decisions that affect individuals that sometimes just seem arbitrary. One of the examples we're looking at is pet capacity laws. Like, who decides how many pets you can have? Like, you can have exactly 3 cats and 3 dogs. But
it seems a little unnecessary, right? I used to live in Reno, and we had a 3-pet rule. And yeah, there's times where that may make sense, but who's the government to decide who gets to do that? Like, they can't just do anything right. They think that they have a right to tell us that? I mean, figure out how to keep us with fresh water, and then we'll talk. Maybe then we could talk about doing some other crap, right?
Right. That's actually another issue. This was brought up to me by a friend that, and what she was talking about is in La Mirada, there's all this. If you go onto La Mirada's website, there's all this stuff about how you have to remember that we're in a drought. There's all this water shortage. And then there's another code of enforcement for landscaping and vegetation, and how you have to make sure and water and keep your lawn so that it's beautiful, because there's a standard that La Mirada has to have. And like, the reason she brought this up is because she's been given, like, I think 2 notices or something for brown spots on her lawn or whatever, because it's not kept up. But at the same time, there's this other thing saying you're not supposed to water the lawn this long because of the drought. But you know what I mean? They're totally contradicting each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, beyond the fact that if you were trying to save water, you don't start with the smallest piece of the pie, right? So in the state of California, residential water use is less than 4.5% of the water usage for the state. In my county, it's closer to 2% because my county is such an agricultural-based county. So for instance, Frank, just to kind of explain, imagine we have 1 million people in my county. We don't. We have like 940,000. The government recommends no more than 55 gallons for every resident a day. So if you expand that, it's 20 billion gallons of water, which is a big number, but in the reality of things is literally nothing. So yesterday, Governor Newsom ordered that we use 15% less water. That's 3 billion gallons. What the hell are we supposed to do with that? I mean, literally, it's nothing. I mean, but I've proposed, working with the oil companies as far as helping them recycle more water, and we can hit 100 billion gallons there, and 500 billion gallons in helping the agricultural industry as well. So why are we wasting time telling people like you and me that we can't water our grass, even in odd days? It's absolutely asinine. It doesn't help, but it's a way for the government to say they're doing something without actually doing anything, right? Because Governor Newsom's watering his yard today, I promise you.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not watering his lawn. I'm sure someone else is watering.
Yeah. But
it's getting watered.
Yeah, mine's not. I have dirt outside. It's pretty bad.
And there's been a lot of times where I've gone by city halls or just a lot of different places, and it'll be raining and the water system still goes on. So that's a thing that, happens all the time too. So
hitting on that, the city of Las Vegas, right? Literally a middle of the desert city. They don't have any water sources. What they've figured out is that by ripping up decorative grass, they can save 15% of their water footprint. So, I mean, when you start talking about leading by example, that's where you make the decision. I went to the hospital a couple weeks ago, and there's grass everywhere. Can't touch it, can't sit on it. But it was being watered at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a 104-degree day.
Right, exactly. It's ludicrous.
It's not efficient, but that is the problem with government in and of itself, is that it's impossible for it to be efficient.
Why would you say that it's impossible for government to be efficient?
Because ultimately they don't really want to fix anything, right? I mean, we could talk about that. Like if the Republicans are in charge, they have their set board of issues that they care about, and then they may or may not actually do or touch. And then the Democrats do the same thing, right? When we had President Trump with a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and Republican control of the courts, and they definitely didn't reject any gun laws. They didn't roll back any gun laws. In fact, they proposed more gun laws in 2 years than the previous 2 presidents combined. So but if they were efficient, they would have just rolled everything back right then and there and never had to worry about it again. But they want to be able to fight over it for the next 3 generations until they can just take all of our guns, right? So, and then just the regulation, how long it takes to do anything. I mean, the consultants, they ask where the money goes. It goes into the pockets of their friends, their consultants. Mm-hmm. Right? I have 3 colleges in my county. I have an expert for anything. Why do I have to pay millions of dollars to have somebody come from the other side of the country to help me make a hard decision? Because leaders are afraid to make those decisions because it affects their political careers, right? Their political aspirations. So that's why they lack efficiency, is there's nothing really holding them to be efficient. They just print more money, right? Borrow more money, tax more money. They're not actually accountable at anything. And then the businesses that we try to hold accountable, the government bails them out too. So here in California, forest fires, PG&E's killed over 100 people in the last 5 years. How come they keep getting more money, and how come they keep donating to politicians? They shouldn't be allowed to, and we should stop them.
How is PG&E killed? I'm guessing forest fires. Is that what? Okay.
Yeah. So it's they're really rampant with not protecting their lines, right? So if you go and you're in the forest and you're driving or walking under the power lines, you're going to find hundreds of trees side by side, stacked, that have all been marked to be cut down. So what happens though is they don't get cut down, and they grow, of course, and then they start touching the power lines in the wind, and it sparks fires. So PG&E actually they pled guilty to 87 counts of manslaughter a couple years ago. They're currently on probation. While they were being investigated for that, they're being investigated for 4 more cases of actual murder because they're not fixing the issues that they're being ordered to fix.
Mm-hmm. So another, that's fine. So another issue that I was looking at, I looked at it a couple years ago, and I was pretty flabbergasted. I can't remember. I think some friends of mine were actually thinking about the possibility of opening up a dispensary, and just decided to start looking into it. And then I was reading some articles, and one of the articles was talking about how you basically have to, in Santa Ana, you had to carry, I think it was like $2 million to start the dispensary. But I was looking at our dispensary laws here in Bellflower, and apparently right now it's a closed application. So right now they're not accepting applications. I know we have, we have 3 dispensaries here, and you must have $400,000 in order to open a dispensary in Bellflower.
Wow. So yeah, we have that problem in Kern County as well. So there's actually no legal dispensaries in Kern County. The cities, there are 2 cities that have.
You're huge too, right?
Huh?
Like you're really, like Kern County is actually bigger than Los Angeles, right?
So Kern County is the largest county by space in the state.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes,
so
it's huge.
Yeah.
So, but it's also strangely conservative, but not really, right? It's just anti-democrat is probably the easiest way to describe it. But what as far as marijuana goes, in 2018 they just said we're not gonna extend this anymore, because what had been happening is there were pot shops open and they had permits, and then and it was kind of like they were in limbo. So the county is required to either legalize it or leave it, under prohibition. And in Kern County, we've kept it under prohibition. But there are 2 cities in our county that have nullified that, and they do have pot shops that are legal in California City and in Arvin. But other than that, yeah, it's complete prohibition. It's nuts, man. They will kick doors in. I mean, I've seen the cops raid so many places, but it's just ultimately it's really stupid. It makes it really unsafe. We had an instance not too long ago where a pot shop was robbed. So they did what they had to do, right? If someone comes in your door with a gun, you're responding. Right. And so this man was shot and killed, and instead of calling the cops, they boarded up the doors, they took everything out of the shop, and they left the man in the parking lot. Because what they did would have been considered murder. And it's absolutely crazy that we're allowing this to happen. And ultimately, it just makes the black market worse. It allows the black market to continue. And that's the dumb thing. You know, Spike Cohen said it a couple days ago on, I think it was on the Kennedy show. He said, you know, end the war on drugs. Like, you want to stop gang violence and they're making their money on drugs, end the war on it. Take away their opportunity to make money and just get them out of the way and take, you know, it's something radical has to happen. You can't keep doing the same thing anymore. The literal definition of insanity, right? Do the same thing over and over.
Absolutely.
So and then you were hitting on how much money it costs to open a dispensary. We've messed that up in California. We just invested another $100 million in helping pot shops get open because it's too hard to open. Like, nobody wants to open them because of how hard it is.
Exactly.
I mean, they're saying that like 40 hours a week of just administrative work. Who can run a business that way? You know, I mean, it's pretty bad. You know, and it would be one thing if we were Colorado or Washington, but we've got examples. Nevada sells recreational marijuana. You know, Colorado, Washington, I mean, or Oregon, like everyone that touches us has it. How did we not? How did we break it?
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of the problems stems from the bill itself. Before I've ended up voting for it, but I read it. Actually, I don't think I did vote for it. It was terrible. There's all kinds of regulations specifically regarding edibles having to have certain looks. There's so many shops that are in violation all the time of the bill, and they don't even know. They're just lucky they're not getting enforced on.
Yeah. It's how do you run a business when the government is literally just standing on your throat the whole time, hampering you? It's crazy. And then of course it just makes it worse because they're gonna go back to their corner dealer.
Right. Because if it's not profitable, then yeah, that's what you're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
So. But I was actually looking at on here as far as the with this landscaping and vegetation. I was surprised that one of the things is, I guess, the way they find out about the code enforcement is because they ask you to, you know, that they have a line, a tip line, so that way you can, you know, tattle on your neighbors about the fact that they haven't been watering their grass. So that creates a great environment to live in.
Yeah, well, let's weaponize us against each other's neighbors over brown spots in our yard. That sounds like a real pleasant experience, right?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. Like, man, if I just started calling the cops on my neighbors for everything they did wrong or everything that I disagreed with, I'd be that guy.
Right. And it's like, I don't understand thinking that way, but you know, I don't know. That's just not the way that I don't know.
Yeah, I very, very much, you know, live my life to the whole, you know, don't hurt people and don't steal their things. If I can stay away from those two things, then I feel like I'll do pretty good, and I will not be called a Ken or a Karen.
Yeah, makes sense. So you're running for supervisor. So what got you to run? Because one of the things that member of the one thing that I had heard someone was talking about is that, and maybe you have thoughts on this, is that someone who is more libertarian is somebody who wouldn't want to be involved in government because that's not, you know, so what's getting you to go into this, knowing
So you're
that
right.
it's kind of the opposite of your personality, obviously.
Yeah, so running for office is the polar opposite of being a libertarian. You're right, but in the end, it's a realization that how much are we going to complain and never actually do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're unhappy with Republicans and Democrats, we can't just win meme wars online and try to win arguments online. We have to run candidates that can win. So my background, I've never done anything political like this. I worked hard, growing up. I didn't go to college. I moved to Vegas when I was 20, and I started working in hotels. And then I worked in the church. I actually was a youth pastor for about 3 years, and I worked in the inner city. I actually lived in the projects in Vegas at the Las Vegas Dream Center, and I volunteered for 3 years. As a full-time volunteer, I worked on the side, and I just helped people. We fed 10,000 people twice. We gave away 2,000 backpacks 3 times. Just some really cool stuff. Then moved back to California. We had my own business for a while. I sold that. It didn't really work out. And then I was managing. So right before COVID, though, I was in the restaurant business again, and I was managing the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. I had that account in Simi Valley. So I was doing major catering. I got to feed Buzz Aldrin a couple years ago. I got to cook for George Bush, a couple years ago. And then I was, COVID happened and completely unemployed. And I just realized, wait a minute, man, like I can do this. If AOC can do this, I can do this. Right? I mean, she was a bartender. I mean, yeah, she's brilliant. She has her degree and she graduated, cum laude, and that's impressive. But in the end, like, she was a servant first. She's a service industry professional, and that's what I am. And we're incredibly efficient because we have to be. I mean, the joke is when you work in a kitchen, you can do 16 hours in 8 hours. It's and I've done those things. We had a $13 million budget that I helped run, And so I just said, I'm going to go for it. And at first I was really mad at the water board. So that's where it started, is the water rate increase. And then I realized that they don't really do anything. The water board doesn't have a lot of power to fix things. They just kind of manage the resources that are given to them by the state and the county. So I said, okay, well, where's the water come from? And we went to the county. I went to the county and I started realizing, holy shit, if they actually fixed issues instead of just talked about issues, we could solve California. I believe we can solve California's water issues just in Kern County in the first 2 years of us moving forward with the plans that I have. As far as just removing decorative water or decorative grass, fixing the agriculture industry to help them save water, the oil industry, investing in infrastructure that actually allows us to recharge our groundwater without letting all of our water sources be poisoned and polluted, things like that. There's trillions of gallons to save. I mean, the Delta Smelt project in Sacramento is terrible. They haven't even seen the damn thing in 3 years, and they're still wasting billions and billions of water every year to try to keep it alive. It's somebody has to stand up and say, hey guys, this isn't working anymore. And I think that I'm that guy. I live, my kids go to my elementary school. I've been in this town since I was 9 months old. I know everybody, and we're having a great response. Every time that I put anything out, more and more people are responding. Hey man, like, the things that you say are different. You're not the same old thing. They really, really freak out when I can support like a conservative thing and then a progressive thing directly after it. They have no idea what to do.
Exactly.
So, but it's good. I think the plan is there, and I think we have a great chance to really make something happen next year.
That sounds good.
So did you say you're in Bellflower, so California as well?
Yes.
I don't know why. I thought you were like on the East Coast for some reason.
Nope.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, weird. That makes more sense then. Are you going to be in LA by chance tomorrow at the Reason Foundation? There is a libertarian convention. It's like 100 people are supposed to be there. And there's going to be some good speakers. Angela McArdle's going to be there. I'm not going. My daughter's birthday's tomorrow. They would kill me if I left.
Yeah, I would go. I have dialysis treatment that is during that time, and so that kills my Saturdays because pretty much after the treatment I'm I'm worn
Wait.
out. So yeah.
Oh man. So,
So,
oh man, that's no fun. So like, what kind of things do you see? Like what are things that people are telling you that what do they like? What do you think people want to see different? I mean, as far go ahead.
I don't know. As far as what I would think that people want to see different, like I said, I get a lot, or I got a lot of response concerning, what I'm talking about, which is like things that are needling points to people that, every day when you're just trying to do, your normal things, and government gets in the way.
Every step.
Yes.
And it's just too much. And I think I've read a fact that says, like the average American commits like 2 felonies a day and has no idea that they're doing it. And I believe it. It's if you make everything illegal, then everyone's going to commit crimes. I mean, at some point, back the hell up. And then I always think about this, like when really stupid rules get made. So your 3-dog rule. How many hundreds of hours and millions of dollars were wasted on debate to deal with that? Like who?
Exactly. Well, probably not. I don't know, because I don't know if I don't think it's California law. It seems to be county law or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know I'm assuming you've sat in on county board meetings now to kind of see how they work. And
yeah, I sat in on the last 2. Well, on Zoom, I didn't go.
And sometimes anything getting done, it's like you don't see anything, accomplished, or very little is accomplished, or it's pretty much already a done deal, because you'll have a line item and you have like 15 line items, and then it's just like yay or nay, and then it's like, okay, why did this occur? And then there's a lot of times where you have laws that already on the books. That's one thing that is just a pet peeve of mine, is there's laws that are already on the books. Like a good example is you have hate crimes, but then you have crimes. You already have a law that says if you shoot somebody, this will happen. And then you're like, but if you do this way, or okay, like not even a hate crime, but like let's say gang law legislation. It's like if you shoot this person, then you're going to jail for this much time. But if you shoot him while driving in a moving car as a gang, then you're really going to get in trouble. And it just gets,
it's so confusing.
Ridiculous.
And then so I'll talk about that. Like I talk about criminal justice, and I talk about that kind of reform. So the average city, if you were to look up, your district attorney and then your public defender, the blue collar district attorney division is typically funded at 3 times the rate of the public defender's office. Mm-hmm. So, but we talk about rights in this country, and there's one thing that we typically will agree on, that the Miranda rights, right? You have a right to an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to get a busted ass attorney that has way too many cases that isn't going to even be able to help you. So people take plea deals just to go home.
Oh yeah.
And it's absolutely crazy.
So I personally was in a situation where my dogs got out, and I ended up at the Long Beach city courthouse, and I'm waiting for my attorney. And of course I don't have like tons of money, so I'm getting a court-appointed attorney. And I'm like, okay, so what are we going to argue? And he's like, looks at me like I'm crazy and just goes, no, man, you're just going to say no contest. What do you mean? What are we going to argue? Just, he's like, I got things to do. You got dog leash violation. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah. And plea deal.
Yeah. So then I go and I say no contest, and it's like, oh, they're just like some little scrappers. Well, no problem. Just give you a fine of $2,800. But that's a problem for me because I didn't have $2,800. So long story, a little bit longer, about a year and a half later, they ended up picking me up, and I had to serve county time for failure to appear for 5 days.
Yeah, and so
Because my dogs got out.
I can relate, man. As far as like when things get so dumb, I got a couple speeding tickets years ago, and I couldn't pay it. And they don't want you to make payments; they want you to pay all of it. And so they keep, okay, we'll extend it. Well, I don't want to extend it. I just want to make $100 a month payment. Maybe $50 every 2 weeks. And they said no, so my license ended up getting suspended. But what am I going to do? I have kids. Like I'm gonna go to work, right? So I got pulled over for speeding for 4 miles over, which is crazy to me because the reason the cops usually give you 5 miles is because that's the error rate. That's the range of error that the radar guns make. So he pulled me over saying I was going 4 miles too fast, which means I could have been going 1 mile too slow. Mm-hmm. But my license was suspended. They took me to jail for 4 days. And I sat there for 4 days over a suspended license. I get to court finally on Monday, and the judge is like, repeat those charges? And so the court clerk read them again. And he looks at me, he goes, you've been here since Friday for speeding on a suspended license? I said, yes, sir. And he just kind of started shaking his head. Time served, go home. And then the district attorney still wanted me to pay the speeding ticket. So she tells Your Honor, what about his speeding ticket? And he's like, 4 days in jail. Yeah. Time served. Like, what's your deal?
Right.
And I could have lost a job. Like I started a new job like the next week, but what am I supposed to start that day?
I was surprised because I was in county and they have some weird rules in county that some people don't know, but I'll share them. That basically they're segregationists in county, and there's folks you can't be with, and basically, so what they did is I didn't have any Caucasians that were with me, but they have a policy where they have like this chain. So what they did is they ended up double wrapping me. So I'm sitting there double wrapped in Long Beach. Looked like I committed the most heinous crime you could imagine because, I'm all chained. And I was surprised because they went through the whole thing. Somebody said time served. And the judge is like, no, I don't think we should be lenient. And so it ended up being like they added another day, but luckily the day ended up being just the processing back through. And but I was like, wow.
Yeah, because you were such a danger to society, Frank.
Right. Because of my dogs.
Yeah, like that. I have friends that are police officers. I tell them like, how did that make somebody else more safe? Like, how is Frank's neighborhood more safe by you terrorizing him and throwing him in jail for 6 days?
Right.
Was it? It wasn't more safe. In fact, it was more dangerous because he was watching his dogs for 6 days.
There's that. All right, Kelly. Well, we got to get out of here, but it's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, and, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy.
All
Thanks,
right.
man. Have a good
night. All right. And I'm going to end the project. And that was Time to Be Reasonable. And maybe you have something that your city government or your county or someone is doing that, might just be, well, not someone, but specifically government is getting in your way. Let us know. We'd love to talk about it. Have a great day, everybody, or great night, everybody.